I just want to check on some sports stats, keep myself sharp here on the sports, and I'll use my computer and just go in here and I'm going to check. Okay.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dave. It's a Thursday night live stream presented by DraftKings. Dylan, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. Pretty chill little fall evening here in Austin, Texas, and it's Texas OU weekend, so I'm pretty excited about that and excited for today's program.
Can I say your position with your shoulder is very flirty, and I don't know
It
if
is
that's
flirty.
intentional. I don't know what you're trying to do. I'm not against it, but it is noticeable.
Like I want someone to ask me out on the dance floor or something.
Yeah, you're a little heartache on the dance floor, aren't you?
You're two white wines deep right there. That is that's 2 or 3 white wines deep sitting at Eddie V's bar right there.
You're damn right.
Man, it sounds very familiar. Hey, here's a guy who has been the key to the Brew Crew's success this season with the big move up to Wisconsin. It's KJ, live from Madison.
I guess we can put the first round sweep on the ledger of things I've brought to this state of Milwaukee, as long as I can continue to claim like Damian Lillard and I don't know. Damian Lillard.
Tanner Mordecai.
The things I've brought to the state of Wisconsin. Like I'll take that with pride. In fact, I'm excited for our guests, to look ahead. Because obviously he's probably familiar with Tanner Mordecai's early career chapters as well. So we'll get to that.
Before we bring on our guest, I would like to give a shout out to our good friends at DraftKings Sportsbook. Hey, football is back in full swing with another week of epic games. News got you covered on the action for every single one of them. It's the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. New customers can bet $5 on football and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Nobody is missing out on the action this season. All DraftKings customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every game day this October. Get in on the NFL Week 5 action with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app now. Use code WASHED to sign up. New customers can bet just $5 and take home $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on the DraftKings Sportsbook with code WASHED. The crown is yours. See show notes for details. You want to bring the guy on?
Let's do it.
Bring him on, KJ.
My favorite Sooner.
Me too.
You say that like there's a long list. Eddie Radosevich.
Gentlemen, what's happening? Hey, the only reason I feel like you guys have invited me back on is because since I've known you, Oklahoma hasn't scored against Texas. And I take great offense to that.
Purely coincidental, Eddie. It's not about you, I swear. Also, if T-Man hears what I just said about you being my favorite, you don't know who T-Man is. We got a buddy who's a big OU guy. He's gonna kill me if he heard me say that. So hope he's not listening. But Eddie, welcome back, man.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me. One of the best weeks of the year, OU Texas, and can't wait to get down to Dallas.
You going to the game?
I was going to say you're in studio today, which obviously is located there in Oklahoma. I was anticipating maybe you were already in Dallas. What is on the agenda? Like what's on the docket for you outside of obviously attending the game?
Yeah, I would love to get down there on Thursday night. I think the college Eddie would already definitely be down there. Probably would have played golf this afternoon somewhere, and probably would be definitely 3 sheets to start the weekend because Thursday does start the OU Texas weekend. But no, I got to do radio here in Oklahoma City tomorrow. So do a show every Monday through Friday, 6 to 10. So radio. Then we'll probably try to hit the road about 11:30 tomorrow and then get down there and get back into kind of the swing of OU Texas. So it's Friday of OU Texas is always kind of like a family reunion of sorts. Head over to maybe Eddie Ice House or somewhere like that, hang out on the patio and then go to dinner and get up early and get out to the fair and cover the game.
Yeah, I was going to ask, on game day, is it strictly business? Or you get to hit the fair for a little bit, maybe take in some deep fried butter and a wax cup beer or something like that? What does your game day look like?
Oh, it definitely is work. We'll be there, covering the game for Soonerscoop.com with On3. But yeah, I mean, I think that anybody that walks onto the grounds of the State Fair of Texas will get a Wax Cup beer, and I will find myself doing that. Maybe a couple before professionally, and then let loose afterwards. So I'm excited about it. Should be a really good one, and just kind of glad that both teams are playing extremely well right now. So, Texas obviously playing a little bit better than Oklahoma with the win in Tuscaloosa, but at the same time, it's going to be a big test for Brent Venables in year number 2. I think that there's a lot of Oklahoma fans that are anticipating a much closer game than maybe the national narrative has out there, but we'll see. I think that there are still a lot of question marks as far as what Oklahoma actually is here in 2023.
Yeah,
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
Dylan, what was your beef with Dylan Gabriel today, like 3 hours ago on Twitter or like Fox Sports? What was going on there?
It wasn't with him. It was with Fox Sports, who they had a graphic comparing Quinn Ewers, like who's better or whatever, Quinn Ewers or Dylan Gabriel. And since my name is Dylan and it's like the second most common way to spell it, I have this, in common with the OU quarterback. But people always try to put the second I in my first name, like Dillian. And so that's what Fox Sports did. In the graphic, it was spelled correctly, but in the tweet itself, it was spelled Dillian. And it's for as long as I can remember, people have been making this very common mistake with my name. So I'm just like, come on, guys, like figure it out. It's really not that hard. You don't say Dillian, you say Dylan. And so I had to call him out on it. It was egregious coming from an account like that.
I got some breaking news. I actually have a buddy who works over at Fox Sports. They fired the social media intern based on your tweet. So I hope you're happy.
Austin podcaster gets Fox intern canned. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm seeing one thing here on On3, something I missed. Shouts to Nick Schultz for breaking this news to me, that game day picker on Saturday, one Baker Mayfield will be in attendance.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I think this is the first time that I think his bye week has aligned with Texas. So the stars have kind of aligned for that to happen. And it'll be good to see Baker down in Dallas. And, I think he's doing some stuff at Quick Trip as well. Friday morning. So it's he's making a big run of it here over the course of the weekend down in Dallas.
None of the respect there.
He was doing a Raising Cane's shoot with Vince Young today. I saw on Twitter or X. I
was going to say I kind of not knowing Vince Young whatsoever, and I don't mean this entirely to be an insult, but I kind of picture OU Texas week for Vince Young similar to what it is for like a couple of the bars in Dallas, where you hear like, oh, St. Patrick's Day and OU Texas week. That just makes his nut for the entire year. It's like, whatever can be done, I imagine, during those 10 days, the guy's going to do. And I respect it. I certainly respect it. Yeah.
You got to chase the bag somehow, KJ. It's more difficult for some, all right?
I respect it. I want Eddie's perspective on the exit of the Big 12. I feel like a lot of the conversation is centered on Texas, a little bit more so than Oklahoma. And I don't know if that's because how things are going in Stillwater. As of right now, I believe their coach is still employed. Do you feel like Oklahoma's exit is not being like paid enough attention to, or like what's the chatter there in terms of this being their final year in the Big 12?
I mean, I think at the end of the day, I don't know if people really care about the conversation. They're leaving. It's something that the fan base has wanted for quite some time. I think that the ideology and the fan base and the passion that Oklahoma fans have for college athletics, they've always felt like has kind of I guess matched what everything is in the SEC, and it's a general excitement, I think, for Oklahoma fans as well as Texas fans to be making the move. And it is a little bit scary, but at the same time, I think that with what Texas did in Tuscaloosa earlier this season, and with what I think a lot of people feel like is a trajectory for Brent Venables' program, specifically in the football side of things. They are recruiting at a pretty high level right now. They were able to keep together a top 5 class a year ago, coming off the 6 and 7 season, and they feel like they're moving in the right direction. And I think that, that's why you look at Saturday, and even though it's, Texas and it's a Big 12 game at the same time, I think that there's a lot of people that feel like everything is progressing, quite nicely for Oklahoma athletics moving into that. And, if people want to give credit or whatever, I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of people on Twitter that would get into this argument about like who made the move first or who's taking who with who to the SEC. It can be argued. It's kind of like the OU Texas discourse this week during OU Texas week that, you can do a lot of talking. It's not going to really change the facts that they're going to still have to play the game on Saturday as much as they're going to still have to go to the SEC and compete with all those teams over there in the SEC. So it's a lot of fun. It's been kind of weird because it has been a drawn out process over the last couple years. Just going on the road and having traveled with Oklahoma here over the last, I guess, really the last decade and covering the team. It's definitely strange walking into places, whether it be Waco or Lubbock or Manhattan, places that you knew you were never going to go back to, at least in a competitive setting. And, I think the passion and the fervor, and especially last year when Oklahoma was down a little bit, it was like blood in the water, particularly in places like Lubbock where they knew that, this is going to be your final shot and they're going to be able to kind of send you off with a loss. So it's been kind of interesting, kind of weird, but at the same time, I think everybody's really excited about everything that is the SEC. We went over to SEC Media Days, at the beginning of August or in the middle of July, and it was different, but at the same time, it was kind of the same. I mean, I know that there's a lot of more media that go and cover something like that, and a lot more national media, but at the same time, I mean, once it begins, it's coaches saying a bunch of coach speak and players talking like they've basically won the national championship during the summer.
Hey, do you guys, so I was speaking mainly to Dylan and Eddie, do you kind of see what's going on at Utah and breathe a sigh of relief that you're not having to recruit against Truck Month?
Man, that's a move that I didn't expect a program like Utah to put together. Eddie, you know what he's talking about with the Dodge Rams?
I saw that, and it's badass. Like I think it's super, super cool that they're able to do that with their NIL package and give all those players a truck. But at the same time, like, would you want the same truck that every other teammate has? I don't know if I'd want to drive around campus being like, oh, there's the football players, or
yeah.
No. I know
It's going to be like when they rolled out like Chromebooks in high schools or whatever. Like immediately, like, you never had a laptop in school unless, you had some means and you were a cool kid. And all of a sudden everybody has a laptop and you're like, oh, these are pieces of shit.
They did look like nice trucks, though.
The trucks are great. I won't say anything about the actual truck, but like the sentiment will grow quickly.
Yes, absolutely.
If you are if you just opened up your State Farm insurance practice in, like, I don't know, maybe a suburb like Midlothian, Texas or something, then like I could really see you driving around with that, but like just your face on the back on the tailgate. But
yeah,
it is cool. It is cool. 6 months, like for every scholarship athlete, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts.
There was rumor there that was inspired by like some of the NIL work done by Rhett Bomar at Oklahoma. I thought that was that car dealership arrangement just kind of carried over, right?
Don't give Big Red Sports and Imports any ideas. I'm sure that they've already tried. And I think that they did try and they succeeded with Spencer Rattler, who had like 3 cars when he was in Norman.
Gosh, I forgot about that.
Grand Prairie Gopher?
Grand Prairie Gopher.
That's right. Yep. District, I think 6-5A against those Duncanville Panthers. I'll never forget.
0-1 versus your boy. Means a lot. I do want to ask about Tanner Mordecai. Not that it matters to anybody on here but myself as a former SMU Mustang. I think when he transferred to Wisconsin, where I live now here in Madison, Wisconsin, it's like, oh, what a coincidence. This will be great. This will be exciting to see. That'll get back to him quick. It'll be exciting to see. And things have panned out about how they did at SMU, where there are flashes of just pure, quality. I know his stint at Oklahoma was somewhat limited. Any notable stories or anecdotes about old Tanner?
No, not really. I mean, he just kind of got buried in the depth chart, and it was a little bit unfair, just kind of under the circumstances that he was in Norman. I actually saw him in high school at Waco Midway.
Yes.
They went to like the states. I think they went to the state finals or the state semifinals. I think I saw them either in the quarters or the semis. I can't remember which one. It was over at Baylor's new stadium, or it was new at the time. But, I have a bunch of, people that are still around Norman, guys on staff now that were on the team then, and everybody loves Tanner. I was super happy that he went to SMU and had the success that he did. I was a little bit surprised that he ended up jumping to another college and going to Wisconsin out of SMU. I think halfway through last season, I thought the word was going to just be that he's ready to kind of give up the college ball and go chase a professional dream. But I always thought he had great arm talent. Obviously, he can run a little bit. I've just been, I guess, surprised that it hasn't come completely together at Wisconsin. But at the same time, I do think that they're probably going through a little bit of a. You would know better than I that they're going through a little bit of a rebuild in Luke Fickell's first year.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny to see local sports media here. A Southern statement, I guess it would fit, is like, bless their heart, but like you'll see local comics that were basically air raid, like afraid of like how this is going to work in Wisconsin,
Sure.
and concern over how the approach will work. But living in Big Ten country and growing up in Texas is a lot. There's quite a few differences, and we can get to that another time. But before we get on to our picks,
you got another OU guy there too, and Nick Evers.
Oh, that's true. Who's actually, yeah. And I was thinking that there was a shot that he might get some playing time. I thought that Tanner was going to be out a week, but it's been musical chairs for quarterbacks as
Sure.
we've seen everywhere.
Sure.
Texas OU week. Anything else of note, Dylan, that's on your like go-to traditions? I didn't really step into the weekend for anyone else but Eddie. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's actually been a minute since I've been. There was a stretch there for about 5 years where I went every year. But it's been a while. I usually just get there really early, and we do like a little tailgate situation outside the gates. And then at about 9ish or so, we would go inside and get some wax beers and maybe a deep fried peanut butter and jelly sandwich or something and eat and put that down. But man, it's honestly the most fun environment imaginable college football wise, in my opinion. I mean, obviously I have a team that's part of the game, but it's perfect. The way the crowd split down the middle, Texas on one side, OU on the other. It's pretty amazing. So game day atmosphere wise, I can't imagine it getting much better than that. But I got to get back.
Fair. I don't know
that best weather y'all have had. Best weather.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
situation in like years.
100%. I was truly thinking about that. We were talking about this morning on the radio program. Like, I can't remember the last time that I was at the Cotton Bowl and it didn't feel like it was the center of the sun. And even when it's like 85 there, it feels like it's 95 inside the stadium. And I think it's obviously because of so many people, but it's incredible weather. It's setting up to be a beautiful, beautiful weekend down in Dallas. And, I think that there's a lot of people that are making that trek down I-35 and just hoping Oklahoma scores and keeps it competitive and obviously wins. It's going to be an interesting ball game with so many question marks going in.
And this one feels different too. I mean, it's obviously the last year these two teams are in the Big 12.
Right.
SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey is going to be at the game. And like the fact that they're both undefeated and, we might see both these teams in the Big 12 championship on the way out of the conference is also like a funny angle to me. So just feels a little different this year. It's just like extra. I mean, it always is, but it's extra exciting. Really excited for it.
All right. Well, let's shelve the Tez Walker story for Monday because I think it's just going to be a lot of shitting on the NCAA and questioning what they actually knew when they knew it and all of that, which we're not, in possession of. And shout out to Mac Brown for being petty online. That's my overarching thought. It's who would have thought that he would be so petty on social media, but
Love it.
Here we are. Let's get into our picks. I believe we've got all four of our picks in, and I apologize for not passing on better direction because I think we included Brett's picks here on the ones that'll be shown on screen. So, it gives you somebody else to fade if you care to. Give me one moment. Let me,
Brett's here at the office, by the way, Dylan. I don't know if you can hear the TV, but we've got some kind of country music going on. He's out there banging away at that college football column as we speak.
Is he listening to Morgan Wallen and writing a column right now?
It's like Riley Green or something. I don't know.
Okay. I like one of his.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna not embarrass myself by acting like I know.
All right. Well, I feel like it's anticlimactic, but there was no reason to pick the Bears and the Washington game tonight. It's the first Thursday night show we've done where we're not picking the Thursday night football game. I don't think anybody objects. Anything of note, any thoughts there before we dive in?
Can I just
Al
be the
Michaels
first?
might kill someone tonight. I could see that happening.
Late third quarter, and he's just having to dig in his bag, and he knows Kirk's head's already on Dallas, like ready to get on the plane.
He has not wanted to be in that booth at any point this season with the games that they're offering on Thursday nights. We respect Amazon though. Good product.
You guys
I
are
think
all
it's
in
gonna
Oklahoma,
be-
huh?
We'll get there.
Yeah, I'll get there. I just wanted to be the first to say rest in peace, Dick Butkus.
Okay, fair.
Oh, yeah, what? You're mad because yeah, like that'll be the bulk of the broadcast tonight is Dick Butkus stories, which I'm very cool with.
That's true. I guess it is a Bears game. Great point. If it was Mike Ditka, I'd spend more time on it. As I've notably said, he and my grandmother have similar facial features. My grandmother looks a lot like Mike Ditka.
Okay.
Beautiful, lovely woman. All right, let's dive in to Saturday, 11 o'clock. Most of us will be present and watching it. Some of us will be working it. Dylan, where will you be?
Thanks, KJ, for bringing this up. Yeah, so my son, 8 years old, he's playing soccer, and the schedule, for whatever reason, there's no set time.
In Austin.
In Austin, there's no set time when the games are played. So I got an email about 2 hours ago saying that the game will be, I believe the start time is 11:45, 11:30, something like that. So I am going to have to record the game and do everything I can to avoid score updates from everyone around me, which is going to be probably impossible to do, but I'm going to do my best and then come back home and watch it with him. So, yep, that's what I'm doing. Thanks, KJ.
That is dad of the year moves right there.
You're the MVP.
I respect it.
The things we do.
I want to report from you on Monday or even Saturday, like how many other fathers are there or how many other players just no-showed. Because
an email was sent out Monday saying, like, I think we're gonna have like a light group. Like, do we have enough to fill the team? Who's gonna be there? And I was like, oh yeah, Parks will be there. Like, he will. I mean, we're in town. I wasn't thinking about the last game was a later start time, so my mind was on that, and it just didn't work out that way for your boy.
And call something out real quick. I'm happy to see that my mom heard me say that her mom looks like Mike Ditka. It's great
What's
catch.
going on?
All right.
Oh, wow.
Well, let's start with Oklahoma, Texas. I feel good about it. I'm not even going with the homer pick because of the guests. I flat out feel good about it as a guy who watched 4 quarters of them play more than in control against SMU. But their defense performed as they should have in that game. I think that's what has to show up on Saturday. If so, 6.5 is a lot of points for them to be getting. So give me Oklahoma. David?
Yeah, I'll preface this by saying this is the least confident I felt in my picks thus far this season. That being said, I feel like the only game Texas has come out and not been flat in was Baylor, and that was against a backup who was actually hurt, like his ankle was hurt. So I'm a little worried about that. And plus, it's Texas OU, and like on paper, Texas should win this game by 2 touchdowns. But it's Texas OU. I think so, dude. I don't believe in Dylan Gabriel. I've said that a number of times. I don't believe in Dylan Gabriel.
I believe in third down Jackson Arnold, without a doubt.
Okay, fair. I don't really have anything to say.
To
But
the
I pick up
homers, or go ahead.
OU.
Okay. To the homers here, Eddie.
Anything can happen in OU Texas. I think it's one of those games that, it's so cliche to talk about, but one team could be 5-0, the other team could be 0-5, and you're probably going to look up and it's going to be a ball game in the fourth quarter. I think the one thing that you have to worry about if you're an Oklahoma fan is just what that offensive line hasn't been able to do in the run game. It's been up and down. They've pass blocked really well, but now you're taking on a Texas defensive line and a front 7 that is extremely good. And that's my biggest question is if Texas can get pressure on Dylan Gabriel, who has been extremely comfortable, extremely better than he was a year ago in his first season in Norman. If he can deliver the football, be good. They have some wide receivers that are starting to emerge. They got to be able to give him time, though. He hasn't been just completely great under pressure. I guess what quarterback is. But at the same time, on the flip side of it, Oklahoma does feel like they are better defensively than they were a year ago. This is going to be the biggest test that they've had, though. They played well against Cincinnati, who I don't think is any good, but they can run the ball a little bit, and they shut that down up in Cincinnati. This is another great test for them. Texas playing offensive lines playing extremely well. Jonathan Brooks coming off of a 226-yard game against Kansas. But I just kind of fall back on this idea that it's OU Texas. I think it is going to be tight in the second half. There's going to be a special teams play. There's going to be something that goes with the momentum. How does the team handle that? And we'll see. I think that I would take Oklahoma plus 6.5, but I do like Texas to win the game, probably by a field goal. Believe it or not, which I know Texas fans are pretty down right now on Bird Auburn.
Yeah, he has not been spectacular this year. I also like to point out this line has moved a bit. I think it's at 5 now.
Yeah.
Which obviously indicates a lot of confidence on the OU side of things. The thing I've been saying about OU all season long so far is that I don't know how good OU is because of the competition they face. They might be really good, but we know. I mean, Texas has been tested, and they've obviously won every game so far, including in Tuscaloosa. Handled Kansas pretty easily. So I just don't know what to make of OU yet. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball very well on Texas. You mentioned the Texas D-line has been very strong this year. I don't know. I'm going with my heart here. That's pretty obvious, I think. But I do think Texas is a pretty sound football team and probably 8 to 10 points better than OU. But like you said, this is a game where kind of anything happens. Last year, I feel like was an anomaly. That game didn't make a lot of sense. Had a tight end playing quarterback basically. But I don't know what to make of it. But I do feel I have a quiet confidence about Texas in this game.
I love how Texas has handled the post-Tuscaloosa win. I think the average wins are like 33-10 over Wyoming, Baylor, and Kansas. And like you said, I don't think that all of a sudden they're going to be able to run the ball against the best defensive line they've played all season. They're going to attack the edges, I think. I think that you will see a lot of option stuff. Dylan Gabriel's been pretty active in the run game here recently. And with Jackson Arnold behind him, I don't think that you're as scared as maybe you were a year ago in the run game with the quarterback. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Jeff Levy tries to attack that. I think if they're going to try to go over the top quite a bit early and see if he can connect with Andrell Anthony or Nick Anderson or Jalil Farouk or any of those guys. I think that you do want to attack the Texas safeties, and we'll see. If it turns into a shootout, though, Oklahoma's been so inconsistent offensively, at times this year, which is weird to say as well as they've played at times. I don't know if Oklahoma can continue to keep scoring if Quinn Ewers and that skill set of offense that Texas has with Xavier Worthy and A.D. Mitchell and all those guys, Jordan Whittington and Jatavian Sanders getting cleared today. It's going to be really interesting to see how they attack that.
LSU, Missouri will be kicking out the same time. We had this at LSU favored by 6. Dylan's the only one on the I guess on the LSU Tigers.
Wow. How about that?
On the road. Reason for Brian Kelly's support here, Dylan.
I don't have a lot to offer here, unfortunately. I just really don't believe in Missouri right now. I don't know.
I haven't seen him enough to doubt him, but
I don't have a lot.
Maybe it's coming off the game against Ole Miss, but I just felt like that defense has a lot to work on. LSU's, that is.
Same. And plus, I've always said that I think Missouri, even though I took Missouri, I think their journalism school is a little overrated. And I'm still taking them at the end of the day. Hot team, but I think it's gonna be fun.
All right. Any strong thoughts on Kentucky, Georgia? We all took Kentucky, Eddie. You as well.
It seems like too many points. I can't figure out what Georgia's doing. Like at the quarterback position, it seems like things are off right now. I don't know if they're just sleepwalking because they've been so good over the last 2 years that they feel like they can just get through the East. But it's kind of weird right now with things that are happening in Athens. And I think that Kentucky, for the most part, and this might be a little bit of a homer pick with the Mark Stoops angle, I think they have a pretty good football team. They kicked the shit out of Florida on last week. So it will be really interesting to see what happens down there. And I would love to see a tight ball game, but I have no idea.
And for the second week in a row, I'll be waking up quite early. Well, not early on Sunday, but watching NFL early on Sunday to watch my Jaguars, not overlaid in Toy Story vision, but playing the Bills. We all picked the Bills here, favored by 5.5. Anyone have any strong thoughts other than the Bills are just really hot right now?
Yeah, they've seemed to have turned it around. They're playing good football. That's all I got on that.
Simple
Jaguars
enough.
are your team this year.
Their red zone conversions are terrible. Their pass protection's been very suspect. They stopped running the ball like they did the first couple games, but we'll see. I think they'll still be there. Chiefs at Vikings, really the only interesting game I saw in the afternoon slate outside of I can't even recall, like the Chargers game maybe. Chiefs favored by 4.5 on the road. I don't think we'll get Taylor Swift in Minneapolis, but I'm sure that people will be paying attention just in case. Dylan's the only person that, well, actually, Dylan and Brett both picked the Chiefs.
Brett. Yeah, he's not here though.
David,
Yeah, I don't
any
know.
strong feelings here? Or go
I'm
ahead,
just
Dylan.
riding this Taylor Swift magic right now. As long as they keep winning with her on their team, I'm going to keep riding with the Chiefs.
David?
I think Kansas City's, they've got some distractions in the locker room, and I think they're going to pull this out. But Vikings are a weird team. Like, they've looked absolutely horrible for a lot of this season. But I think they can keep it close at home. That's all I'll say.
All right. And a game we'll certainly talk more about on Monday. Definitely the highlight of the weekend. Eddie, I don't know where your pro football allegiances lie, but in the Cowboys Niners at the time I pulled these, Niners favored by 3.5. You're going with the Cowboys.
I kind of like the Cowboys to win straight up. I know that's insane to say after the way that they played on the road last time in Arizona, but I don't know. This seems like a perfect spot for them. San Francisco's played extremely well. I would say that they've been the best team in the NFC here over the course of the first 4 weeks of the season, but I like Dak Prescott and the Cowboys to go on the road and win Sunday night, which, I would imagine is going to just make for a Monday morning, quarterbacking at its finest on First Take and all those, programs, I guess we'll call them. But yeah, it should be. I'm excited about it. That's definitely the game of the week, and I like the Vikings to win straight up this weekend as well.
I think I'm right there with you on the Vikings. I differ on the Niners. I think the Niners are a sound team, well coached. Not that the Cowboys aren't, but I just feel like they will have a game plan put together that will run the ball, which the Cowboys have been struggling against. And their defense is not one to make it easy on the Cowboys, when it comes to red zone conversion. So we'll see. But surprising nobody, David, Dillon, both on the Cowboys.
Yeah. I think this will be, I don't know if I like the Cowboys to win it, but I think it's a field goal game. I think Monday morning is going to be like, is this a moral victory? One of those things like, hey, you played with them on the road. Like, either that or it's going to be like, did the balance of power shift in the NFC? It's going to suck either way. I can tell you that. And I would just avoid ESPN at all costs. But I'm riding with the boys.
Is Jalen Hurts playing in this game?
What?
Just saying, where would the power be shifting from if the Eagles are not in this game? Okay. All right. Let's move on to our big boy stacks. Close this out. David.
LSU's defense looks really bad. So I'm on that over.
64.5.
Yeah. Let's go.
I will ride the Brian Ferentz needs to get to what's the 25.5 is his per game average, correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Last game set them back pretty considerably. And I would say losing Cade McNamara for the year is not going to help Iowa get there. Purdue, I feel great about a Graham Harrell-led offense. It's finally clicking. But I would be very, very pleased to see a 35-3 game, Purdue at Iowa. So I'll take the under of 39. Dylan.
Yeah, I don't need to, we've already discussed this game, so I don't need to get into really all that. But I looked at the board, both NFL and college. Nothing jumped out at me, so I decided to push my chips all the way in the middle. I'm fully emotionally invested in this game, so it's all or nothing for me at this point. Texas minus 6.5.
I love that.
Gosh, we're gonna put you on social media alert about 2:30 on Saturday. We'll see how it's going.
I'm just gonna turn my phone off, I think.
All right, we'll close it out, Eddie.
I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in Columbus this weekend. I don't really know just a ton about Maryland, but I think they can move the football a little bit, and I don't think that they can play a whole lot of defense. So give me the over 57.5 in the Ohio State-Maryland game.
I love it. Maryland's been a fun watch. I'm enjoying the Loxley experience finally clicking, kind of being what was promised. And
Sure.
Two of his brothers had like 4 years in that system, so
Feels like
should
he's
be
been
that
there
way.
like 8 years.
Should be that way. Eddie, can't thank you enough. There's a reason you were the most sought after guest after last year. Delivered again.
Absolutely, guys.
Best of luck this weekend.
Appreciate it. Thank you. It should be fun. Anytime that these two teams get together down in Dallas, it's literally a party, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Get back to the Cotton Bowl.
You the man, Eddie. Thanks for hopping on.
Thank
guys.
you. Appreciate it.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Let me throw this up and get out here.
Yeah, that's all I know.